Tumors of epithelial tissue origin may be benign, pre-malignant, and malignant. Amongst the benign lesions, the commonest is papilloma, which is seen in the oral cavity as an exophytic growth, a cauliflower-like growth, which may be pedunculated or sessile, commonly occurring in any part of the oral cavity. The etiology is HPV virus. The next common oral benign lesion is the oral nevi. They also occur on the skin. They are congenital developmental tumor-like malformations. They are classified into either congenital or acquired, and the acquired ones are further seen as intramucosal, the junctional, and the compound, which is a combination of intramucosal and the junctional. Moving over to pre-malignant lesions are morphologically altered tissue in which cancer is more likely to occur than in its apparently normal counterpart. A pre-malignant condition differs from a lesion that it is a generalized state associated with a significantly increased risk of cancer. Together, the two are now denoted as oral potentially malignant disorders, where the risk of malignancy being present in a lesion or condition either at the time of initial diagnosis or at a future date. The causes, it is a multifactorial causative lesion and condition. The various causes are enumerated here. Every pre-malignant or potentially malignant lesion, it histologically exhibits dysplasia. Dysplasia in medical terminology means an abnormality of development where there is a loss in the uniformity of individual cell and a loss of architectural orientation. Normal epithelium and dysplastic epithelium differ from each other. To some extent, dysplasia is reversible. Features of dysplasia can be studied under architectural features and cytological features, which have been enumerated in these slides. The most important being the irregular epithelial stratification, loss of polarity of basal cell, drop-shaped red ridges, so on and so forth. Cytological features are seen at a cellular level, where you get abnormal variation in nuclear size, shape, variation in cell size and shape, increased nuclear cytoplasmic ratio, increased nuclear size. We get typical, atypical, increased and abnormal and bizarre mitosis, increased number of nucleoli and hyperchromatism. Leukoplakia is one of the commonest pre-malignant lesion, which is encountered as a white patch or plaque on the surface of the mucous membrane, not only in the oral cavity but the mucosa of other parts of the body too. It is a white lesion which cannot be characterized as any other definable lesion, and hence diagnosis of leukoplakia is by exclusion. The diagnosis of leukoplakia is also a purely clinical diagnosis because leuko means white and plakia means plaque. They can be categorized either as homogeneous or non-homogeneous varieties. And histopathologically, what you see is a hyperkeratotic lesion with regular proliferating epithelium, varying degrees of dysplasia from mild to severe, but the basement membrane is intact. The clinical features, oral leukoplakias can occur in any part of the oral cavity. Men are affected more than women. It occurs not only in the elderly group but also now in the younger and the middle age group. There is a non-palpable, faintly translucent white patch which shows a wrinkled or a shriveled appearance, sometimes described as a cracked mud appearance. Leukoplakias have a malignant transformation rate of 0.13% to 17.5%. A special or a different type of leukoplakia is described as proliferative verrucous leukoplakia, which occurs in the 6th to 8th decade with a slight female predilection, almost in any part of the oral cavity. And Scheer and Pindberg have classified that 53% of PVL are associated with clinical leukoplakia, 29% show an association with verrucous carcinoma, and 10% on histology are frank squamous cell carcinomas. Erythroplakia is another precancerous lesion which appears as a red patch which is clinically or pathologically not diagnosed as any other lesion. It is a macule or a plaque with a soft velvety texture. If you take a biopsy and see the histopathology, classically it lacks keratin. There is irregular proliferation of the epithelium. The connective tissue lamina propria codes are very close to the surface of the epithelium where there is no keratin. And hence the vasculature, it is the vasculature which is appreciated from the surface as a red patch which is velvety in texture. And almost all erythroplakias will show severe dysplasia, or at times it is also a frank squamous cell carcinoma. The rate of malignant transformation is much higher than the leukoplakia. Another lesion is smoker's palate, which is seen more in the Andhra, state of Andhra, where there is a practice of cigar smoking with the burning end inside the mouth. The lesion is seen on the palate as distinct keratosis, excrescences, which gives it a very pebbly appearance. White patches and red patches are seen with small red inflamed areas on the surface. We have lichen planus, which is an autoimmune mucocutaneous disorder. It may occur on the skin, in the oral cavity, or it can occur simultaneously on the skin and the oral cavity. The skin lesions are violaceous in color with severe pruritus. In the oral cavity, there is severe burning sensation the patient complains of. It presents as a white patch which is covered with grey and white peripheral striations known as the CAM striae. A triad of diabetes mellitus, vascular hypertension and lichen planus is called as Greenspan syndrome. And the lesions of lichen planus should be differentiated from the lichenoid reaction, which is drug induced. The lichen planus is either hypertrophic, atrophic, erosive, bullous or idiopathic. Histopathologically, you classically see a hyperkeratotic lesion. The epithelium shows sawtooth retiridges. There is degeneration of basal keratinocytes. They are appreciated as seaweed bodies in the thickness of the epithelium. And the junction of the epithelium connective tissue is weakened, and that's why you get spaces called as Max Joseph spaces. And characteristically, the lesion shows a band of T lymphocytes juxtaepithelially in the superficial lamina propria, which is a hallmark of lichen planus. The erosive and the atrophic variants of lichen planus are known to have a malignant potential, with the rate of malignant transformation being reported to be 1.3%. Oral submucous fibrosis is a pre-malignant condition, which is a high-risk condition characterized by chronic insidious progressive scarring of oral mucosa. It is caused by arecanut alkaloids. It has a genetic susceptibility. It is called as an Asian disease because it affects more than 5 million people in the Indian subcontinent. We can categorize it as early oral submucous fibrosis and the advanced oral submucous fibrosis. Clinically, what you encounter is reduced mouth opening, sunken teeth appearance, accentuated angle of the mandible, blanching of oral mucosa extending to the soft palate and the pharynx, and a hockey stick shaped uvula, characterized by burning sensation of the mouth, particularly while eating spicy food. Is followed by vesicle formation, ulceration, recurrent stomatitis, excessive salivation or xerostomia, defective gustatory sensation, and a nasal twang to the voice. The pathogenesis, there is increased fibroblastic proliferation with a decreased collagen degradation, and upregulation of lysyl oxidase causes collagen cross-linkage, producing a more stable collagen which resists degradation. Histopathologically, you encounter a hyperkeratotic lesion which shows atrophic epithelium. There is a flat epithelial connective tissue interface, and the connective tissue shows hyalinization and homogenization, reduced vascularity, and almost sparse or negligible inflammatory cell infiltrate. Rate of malignant transformation is very high, 4.5% to 7.6%. All these potentially malignant lesions have a natural history of progressing into malignancy. The normal epithelium first shows metaplasia, which is benign, leading to hyperplasia, and when dysplasia ensues, it progresses to an irreversible condition and neoplasia. Degree of dysplasia at the margins suggests chromosomal abnormality, in which you can categorize the lesion as low risk, intermediate risk, and high risk lesions. Oral squamous cell carcinoma has got various hallmarks. All the potentially malignant lesions will finally progress to the commonest malignancy in the oral cavity, that is squamous cell carcinoma. Hallmarks of cancer are an inflammatory microenvironment, insensitivity to growth inhibitors, self-sufficiency in the growth signals, limitless replication potential. There is sustained angiogenesis which is needed, evasion of apoptosis, and tissue invasion and distant metastasis. Squamous cell carcinoma can occur in any age group because it is now encountered even in the younger population, no more only restricted to the elderly. Any part of the oral cavity can be involved. It is more common in males than in females. It exhibits as either an exophytic proliferative cauliflower-like growth, or it can occur as an endophytic ulceration or an indurated lesion, which will show a burrowing ulcerative lesion. Out of all the parts of the oral cavity, carcinoma occurring in the tongue and the floor of the mouth have the poorest prognosis. If you take a biopsy of squamous cell carcinoma, histopathologically you encounter either a well-differentiated, a moderately differentiated, or a poorly differentiated lesion. In well-differentiated, we can see dysplastic islands infiltrating into the connective tissue with a predominance of keratin pearl formation. Moderately differentiated squamous cell carcinoma will show squamoid islands infiltrating truly into the connective tissue with individual cell keratinization and dysplastic cells. And the poorly differentiated squamous cell carcinoma show a lot of anaplastic cells with increased and abnormal mitosis and at times even bizarre mitosis. There are other histological variants of squamous cell carcinoma that have been reported: the basiloid, spindle cell, adenosquamous, papillary, kidneycutum, and the clear cell variant of squamous cell carcinoma. Grading and staging of squamous cell carcinoma is to quantify clinical aggressiveness and the extent of tumor spread. It is also necessary to make accurate prognosis and to judge the treatment protocol outcomes. Grading is based on degree of differentiation of tumor cells and number of mitosis and architecture. Staging is based on size of the primary lesion, the regional lymph node spread, and the presence and absence of distant metastasis. The commonest grading system that is used is the Bryan's grading system, which will give you a malignancy score with a grading of grade 1, 2, and 3, and the staging is done with the TNM classification. The other carcinomas apart from squamous cell carcinoma is basal cell carcinoma, which is also called as a rodent ulcer. It most frequently occurs on exposed skin surfaces to the sunlight UV radiation, commonly present on the face and the scalp of the middle-aged elderly peoples, more so in men than in women. The oral cavity, only the lip is involved. There is no tendency to metastasize as it spreads by direct invasion to the deeper structures and the lymph nodes. It occurs as a benign, slightly elevated lesion which will ulcerate, heal over, and again break down, eventually leading to a lot of crusting that is seen. There are also rolled borders to the rodent ulcer. This is mainly because of the lateral spreading of the tumor cells beneath the skin. Histopathology will characteristically show discrete islands of basaloid cells with peripheral palisading, the cells resembling very much the basal cell layer of normal epithelium. Another lesion is a verrucous carcinoma, which is a form of epidermoid carcinoma. It was first described by Eckermann as a slowly growing exophytic cauliflower-like growth. It also has a low metastatic potential. Histopathologically, it is characterized by broad bulbous retillages with parakeratin plugging, which is the hallmark of this lesion. Another lesion encountered is carcinoma in situ, also called as intraepithelial carcinoma. All the features of dysplasia that have been described are present in the entire thickness and length of the epithelium. Clinically, this lesion will present as either a leukoplakia or an erythroplakia. However, it is a lesion which does not show metastasis because the basement membrane is intact and it is only contained within the epithelium, just justifying the name intraepithelial carcinoma. Malignant melanoma is another malignant epithelial tumor which is also called as black cancer. It is a neoplasm of epidermal melanocytes. It has a predilection for palate and maxillary gingiva and alveolar ridge. It is the third most common cancer which also occurs in the skin. It grows in two phases, the radial growth phase which spreads laterally and the vertical growth phase in which there is a deeper spread of the lesion. Prognosis of oral melanomas is worse than the